How much did it feel?
Oh, it's on the back. It's back on again. Hello. Hello again. Bit of a break there. Yeah, so what was your question here about? Yeah, it was about me playing 20-year-olds, sort of. I've had to work with what I got, and I'm starting to, in this course, I'm starting to realise what I've got. And what I've got is this. Do you know what I mean? And I've got to work with this. And
your body's your tool.
my body is my tool, and what I could get away with, even with auditions, what I can get away with is an 18-year-old to a 15-year-old, I think, at best. I think that's my bracket. And to
You probably go older.
Would you really?
I'd say 15 to
20.
Early 20s.
Early 20s. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't get away with a 40-year-old man. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't sit right with the audience.
Yeah.
They'd be like, all right, sort of, he's trying to act older than he is, and it breaks the illusion.
Yeah.
So when I got this character, I had to. I knew in my brain. In my brain, I was like, he's clearly in his 30s, 40s, sort of older generation, but I can't. It'd be wrong for me to. It'd break the illusion of the. And even though we had different gendered. So we had men playing women, and them having characteristics. It was a token character. It was very stereotypical and playing off gestures rather than it being what it is. So I'd have to go, and I don't think you can do that with a teacher. So it was sort of like a weird dilemma for me. So I had to go back, but I had to make him educated, or sort of take the bipedal route.
Yeah.
Walk.
Yeah.
You know, just walk home.
Yeah.
I just tried to picture him how I'd do it.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think as well, as it's a rehearsed reading, the important was that, for us anyway, when we done it, was that the characters wasn't like so true to what was being said. Like Katie says about her blonde hair, but the actress that played Katie had brown hair. She talks about Roger being ginger with his freckles, and the actor that played Roger was blonde, had no freckles. It was like descriptions didn't always suit the actor playing it. However, as it was a rehearsed reading, it still gave the story. And if it's a playwright seeing his story for the first time, it's seeing how the dialogue works out.
The dialogue sort of works.
And I think again, it's me, like if you can close your eyes and you can see it, then
you can do it. You know?
Like I'm a Minger was originally a radio like play, and then it got adapted into being an actual play, and that was all done through voice. So I think it's
on the mother, she's got an accent. Was it Bulgarian? She got a Bulgarian accent, and
the actress who played mum.
the actress who played mum, and one of the notes that come up for her was because of her voice, it gave her a motherly atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it worked with Katie, and she didn't look older. Her voice
sounded.
So that's an important question to just talk about. How much do you think the voice actually affected how much you were casted in this role?
For me personally, I think every audition we did for the parts affected how our voices sounded. I think that's a general.
I think that just upon that, how important is your voice to an audition?
Yeah. The clarity in voice is very important. I think that's why.
I would say play that Chav character really well.
Yeah, me with
because
Mel.
You gave it.
I was able to get my mouth around every word, and I had her talking quite fast because the scene between Mel's mum and Mel is the comedy comes between how fast they're talking to each other and how quickly that scene goes, but it's still held in the moment of it's like not wanting to. I think. I had to do it a few times because there were parts where I felt I had to laugh, or I was finding it funny, so I needed to laugh. But it's for us to have that seriousness that this is a relationship between a mother and daughter, but everyone else around us finding it hilarious or funny. So I think for that a voice is important because I use the higher voice.
Yeah, like Bane, Mel's mum, your mother,
the
in the play. The actor who played Mel's mum. he gave that sort of chav sort of.
He gave more of a stereotypical bloke voice, so he played into the comedy of, yes, this is a male actor playing a female mum.
But you sort of gave into.
Yeah, he gave that comedy more.
You just gave into like, oh, this is a guy playing.
Yeah, we addressed.
But it's funny.
We like tongue in cheek addressed the fact that what we'd done was intentional. And I think it really worked when we done the actual like rehearsed reading.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoyed. But yeah, for that I think voice, in every character, voice, clarity, articulation, getting your mouth around those words is just important.
So
and that's important in every scenario, I would say.
So the show, how do you think the show went?
So I think for first to talk about costuming and staging was at the very beginning, this directions say that you're in 14-year-old Katie's bedroom. The bedroom is a mess, so we each had a token item of clothing, and we just chucked it around on the floor. And for me, as that was done so quickly, so we had a day to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I think it's important to mention. We read it. I think we read it, spoke about it, and then didn't actually perform it till the next. We didn't.
No, we didn't.
We done a run through on the day, and then went straight for it because we'd all seen like a play.
So you had
so the next day we literally.
Yeah, so essentially we worked out her room was a representation of her own mind.
Yeah, that's where we went with it.
And then so that's sort of how the staging sort of developed.
Yeah, so you had seating on one side. We filmed it in this room. This while we're trying.
Yeah.
So we had seating on this against this wall, and then seating on that wall for all the
just
characters.
Step
and then we had clothing, and then it was trying to decide what looked best in balancing this on the balancing the stage basically, on where to enter, where to exit, at what cue lines, knowing your cue lines. For my character, I picked a school shirt because the conversation between Katie and Mel is Mel is a friend, well not a friend from school, she doesn't class her as a friend from school, but Mel's a girl from school, and they're walking home after school after a detention, so it made sense to put on a school shirt for me, so that was my token costume. For you, you had a...
I had a blazer. I had an old school sort of teacher blazer that I used to just have the character. Just to, like I said, I had to sort of try and be a bit more older, then sort of be professionally educated, but still be...
And it's a costume that people recognise. You know,
yeah,
understand what I mean? Like, when I think of a teacher you
pads,
think smart blazer,
English proper.
It's easier to put on, do your scene, take off, go into neutral, sit down, and that energy is where, like, how it drops sort of in the cold read, how we wanted to keep it in the rehearsed read, and we wanted to keep that energy going constantly. So that was staging, costuming, and where we were all seated, knowing cue lines, and for the actual performance, as we were reading off script, a reflection for me was I didn't expect to be as nervous as I was. I didn't expect the nerves to be there because I couldn't forget my lines. My lines were right in front of
you, yeah.
But it's, you didn't want to forget your cue and drop the energy, and you'd taken notes, but you didn't know if anyone had hiccuped. And some people had the papers in front of them but said a complete different thing to what was on the paper, done their own interpretation of what was in the script, because they didn't want us. You wanted a balance between, you didn't want to be constantly looking at your script having a conversation, you wanted it to play out as in a scene, but perhaps have a quick glance, see the line, read ahead, and then have that conversation. So I think my nerves came from, although I had it within the cold read of getting my mouth around the words and be able to have my mouth around the words, be able to articulate, was through nerves. Would that be lost? Would I be rambling between speech? But I don't think it, like after the scene had happened, my nerves had gone because that was me, but my nerves didn't hold me back in a sense. I went more on impulse. I used those nerves for my energy and pushed it into a different feeling to be more. And I think that was the main thing was using my nerves to my advantage.
Where
going with impulse.
Where on your one, I tripped over all my words. I completely sort of even though I had it in front of me, I didn't want the script in front of me. I actually wanted to act. Where I had a resource. I had the script in my hands.
Yeah.
Where I sort of just fell over my words completely because the nerves got to me, and it just sort of got to me where I should have just sort of brought myself
I think
back.
for you, in the priority week was your dyslexia was something you was very apparent about, and it was like you kept coming back to.
Like yeah, it was. I was a little bit ashamed of it that week. I was really ashamed to have dyslexia in that week.
And when we'd offered and asked, is there any ways that we can help you? Have you tried this technique? For me to remember the conversation between Mel and Katie was I recorded myself talking.
Yeah.
And then filling in the parts, whether that worked for him, and it was really trying to help you find a way, like blue sheets of paper, that worked for you.
I think there is a bit of pride, it's a little bit of pride running around there. Me naturally as a person, because dyslexia is always sort of, when I've ever done performances, it's always just sort of sat there.
Yeah.
And sort of hit me while I'm down sometimes.
Yeah.
And I try to memorise the words and actually reading it on stage, and it became it did become very apparent. And I brought it up a few times because I didn't want to make a fool of myself. I didn't want anyone to think.
You didn't want anyone to forget and be like, guys, you'll give me a chance because I do have this. But I think that goes back to self and just accepting who you are and working with what you've got. And I think, although that was an issue, it was something that you did persevere for, and it's not like you didn't say I don't want to do the performance, you did it, but for next time it shows you like an improvement to make.
Yeah, I had a resource in front of me and I didn't use it. And that's very apparent to when you go to a audition.
Yeah.
You have techniques to ground yourself and be in the room and calm yourself down.
And the limit you have to explain yourself. However, as a company, we've got to know you, got to understand how you perceive yourself and your attitudes and how you sort of use your tool. But going into an audition, you don't have that chance to be like, this is... Well, you have the chance to say this is me and chosen me, but not to give a life story as such as why this is. And
one note from one of the guys, just to be devil's advocate, when I was saying it was like, when you go to an audition, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
They're not going to care.
Yeah.
They want you to do
it's
the
sort of,
they
if
want
you
you
can't
to do the work.
Do it now.
They want you to do the work. You'll do it. You just have to do it. And for me, I need to a reflection on. I need to work on it.
Yeah.
I need to.
You need to help yourself.
I need to. Yeah, because essentially I'll be shooting myself in the foot. I want to be an actor, but you don't want to put in the work to help with dyslexia. So it's sort of getting over your own pride.
Yeah.
Essentially. Right. Yeah. So that was the end of the week. Thank you.